Hello everyone. So today I would like to show you how I've built localization for Matiki app, the app that is running on the iOS and Android devices. Now, why localization is important? Of course, if you're building amazing apps, it's very important for people to know how to use them. So the language, of course, is critical for any good user experience. And it's, in my opinion, necessary to enable a user to quickly switch between the languages without having too much of a loading time or too much bad experience in general. Now, the approach that I've used here is applicable to any other application. So you don't have to use the Maui or Xamarin. You can use it in any of the projects that you have, of course, using C#. So I've already showed you that localization does work. Now what I would like to show you is where all these translations are being stored. So I created a small JSON file, which is not small anymore. So we could challenge, is JSON a good approach to store this file? I believe in my case, the better one would be a CSV. Now, what is the structure of this one? So I created an array of sections because the idea is that you can split the sections, build the app into smaller sections. For instance, you can have, main page as a section, and then you can have a registration page as a section. And then this would enable you to do a better pre-filtering on the section level so that you can, be a bit faster with retrieving localized labels. As you may see here, there's really a lot of them. It looks as a sausage right now, so maybe CSV would be better. But that's not the point. The localization JSON here is just a data source for the translations that we have in the app. What is here important is that every single label of ours has unique key. So this key is being used to retrieve the translations based on the language key as well. So that's the whole idea. We get a text based on this and on this, nothing else. Now, how do we do this? Well, let me just show you the main page here. So the main page, which you were just seeing a few minutes ago, is looking like this. It is a bit of a ugly. I could do a bit of a better programming here and then refactor this a bit, but for the purpose of the app, it doesn't really matter. So if you look at the first frame here, which is here up to 10, you will see that label that I'm using here is using localization, and then you have this indexes up to 10, which is a bit weird. And this is a good example of C# indexers. So they allow us to access the instance of the class using an index. So exactly as an array here. And this is what I wanted to show you. So if I use this up to 10 here, now let me just switch back here, you will see that this is, let me just go to the current document, this is the key that we're using in localization JSON in our database. So database key retrieved the label. Now, how do we do this? What is this beautiful localization engine? So if I go to definition of this one, you will see it is actually a public property. And localization engine, in this case, is another implementation, another class, which is here. And it has this iNotify property changed. And of course, we do have few public methods here. One, which is the most important, is, of course, get local translations using sections and a key. And then here, what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, give me the current language of the user. And then I'm trying to get the localization database. If the database is null, right here, then I can retrieve the localization database using my app configuration helper. In my case, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get localization JSON from my own app. Of course, the localization database doesn't necessarily need to be in the app. You can theoretically use anything else. You can use the web service as your localization database, CSV, as we already mentioned. You can do whatever you want. You don't need to be locked in a world of Resources files in Xamarin or in any other project. So you can really be flexible here. Now, I'm trying to get local translation. I'm going through the database. I'm going through sections, telling give me the first one, single or default actually here, where the section is section. And then when I have the section data, I can get a label for that section, and I can say, okay, give me please this label. And if I don't find it, I do this prefix, which means that this needs to be localized for me. At the end, in the case that I find everything, I will return this label. So that's essentially it. And for setting languages, I have the method, of course, to set language. I can save it to the preferences so that people, when they load the application next time, they can have their own saved language. Now, this is the indexer that you probably were mostly curious about. So this is the way how we get how this main page is actually working. So this is what is being called. So we're getting this. So this context, this instance of the class for the certain resource key being up to 10 here. And now when we have this, we can call the method here, which is get local translations. And what I'm passing here, I'm passing the section app because my app is really, really small, and I just create one section which is called app. And here I'm passing the resource key, which is being passed from the YAML itself. So in this case, you have decoupled UI from the server side, logic server side implementation. And this works quite well. So you can just switch languages, you can play around with it. It doesn't have any problem whatsoever. The code, I can agree, it's not really beautiful. It is something that can be better, of course, but it is what it is. So I think you can use this implementation to experiment a bit with it, because again, sticking with Resources files can be really, really tricky. And one of the biggest problems that you can get there, if you're working in a bigger teams, you might get merge conflicts quite quickly. It's also quite difficult to give them to external companies which are doing translations quite often. So if you're using, for instance, the CSV as a database, you can just import it to the Excel or export it from the Excel afterwards, and that's it. This is implementation for a very small app. Of course, what you can also do, you can have your databases even split into separate files and separate CSV files, for instance, or sections separate in separate files. So there are so many options that you can do here, but for such a small app like this one, this is more than sufficient. And maybe this is something that you can utilize as well in your projects. So I hope that this was helpful, and I wish you good luck with translations, localizations. Bye bye.